Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Mathlin. I am a holistic nutritionist, a meditation instructor, a yoga teacher, an essential oils educator, kind of like a conscious living guide. I'm very committed to teaching women how to have happier, healthier, more sustainably joyful lives. And so today I'm trying something new with the Deeper Wellness Talks, and this is just going to be a 30-minute call on Wednesdays to talk about a topic that I think is important to all of us. So today's topic is anxiety. Next week will be something different, and the week following. So thank you all so much for being here, and I'm doing my best to look at the Zoom and to look at the Instagram stories. So this is my first time with this stuff, so please bear with me, okay? So the topic of today is anxiety. Oh, I just heard that the Instagram Live isn't loading the video. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take it off and focus here with you on the Zoom, okay? There we go. Much better. So let's talk about anxiety. Anxiety is one of those things that we all experience, right? It's a fear of the future. It's a fear of what might happen. Anxiety is usually accompanied by worry. And I always say that worry doesn't do anything for tomorrow. It just robs today of its strength. So today we're going to explore anxiety just a little bit, and I'm going to tell you my top 3 tips for dealing with anxiety. The first and most important thing I need to tell you is that I am generally an anxious person. I get nervous for public speaking. I get nervous for stuff like this. And somehow I've managed to get it under control and still show up for my life the way I need to. Okay, so let's just take a moment and get centered and get grounded. So let's close our eyes. I'm not going to close mine, but please close yours. And let's find the natural extension in our spine. So we're sitting up as much as possible. Okay, eyes closed, upright, shoulders back, chin forward. Good. And hi, Deanna, I see you just jumped on. Roll your shoulders back, face forward, chin slightly tucked. And we're just going to take a moment to get grounded here. And this is an exercise that you can do at any time of the day when you're feeling anxious. We're going to inhale through our nose and really, really fill our stomach up with air. So, good. And exhale and let it all out. And ideally, you want to be inhaling and exhaling through your nose. I'm exhaling through my mouth for sound effect, but let's do it one more time. Let's inhale. And exhale. And when you inhale again, I want you to think about filling your stomach up with air. And then letting it all out. And we're going to do this 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. So often throughout the day when we are dealing with people, or we're at work, or we're dealing with family or kids or pets that we love, when our emotions get the better of us, we forget to do the most simple thing, and that's just to breathe properly. Our breath starts from here, which is our upper chest, and goes upward. And what happens when we do that is that we actually create more anxiety because we're doing what's called shallow breathing. And when we're shallow breathing, we're not getting enough oxygen to the brain. The brain signals the body that we're in danger, and guess what? We feel more anxious, right? So one of the easiest things you can do at any point in the day is to stop for a moment, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed, and catch your breath. Remember when we were young and we were kids and we go running and we'd be panting and get overwhelmed, and some well-meaning adult would say to you, just catch your breath. And that's really what we're talking about today when we're talking about breathing through anxious times. So that breath, inhaling very deeply and filling your stomach up with air, and then exhaling and letting that all out, has a way of calming the central nervous system. And when we're able to calm the central nervous system, we're actually able to rest and relax. So let's move on to anxiety itself. What happens when we're anxious is that we have such an overwhelming fear or worry about the future that we put our body through the thing we're most fearful of. And what that means is our biochemistry, our muscles, our heart, our head, all of it goes through, hey Hollis, all of it goes through the experience of the very thing that we're fearful of, even though it's not even happening yet. It's like Olympic athletes, right? Olympic athletes, their coaches at a high level tell them, envision the race, envision yourself, like the paces that you're taking, what your arms are doing, what your feet are doing. Envision yourself winning the race, crossing the finish line, arms up, yay, I won, all that kind of stuff. Envision yourself getting the medal. So that works in a positive way, but it also works in a negative way. And most of the time when we're worrying and we're feeling anxious, we're putting ourselves through a future that has not yet happened. And that's kind of where the stress and exhaustion and the sometimes sadness comes from when we worry, because we're putting our body, our biochemistry, our heart, our mind, we're putting it through the very thing we're afraid of before it's even happened. And then if it does happen again, we're doing it again. And this in a lot of ways is stress on the body, stress on the heart, and stress on the mind. And we don't need to do this to ourselves. We're using a lot of energy to worry, and worry doesn't actually do anything. Anxiety doesn't actually do anything. It is a mental, physical, and emotional experience, but it doesn't have a reaction that creates a result in our favor, right? So one of the things I always say, and I always tell people, because one of the things that people worry about the most is money, right? We worry about our financial situations. We worry about whether or not we're going to have enough. And the thing I always say about that is that nobody has ever made more money by worrying about money, right? We've never gotten healthier by worrying about our health. We've never mended relationships by worrying about it. That's really precious energy that you're using up in a lot of ways for nothing, and in some ways to cause self-harm. And so what I would like you to think about is worry as an energy, anxiety as an energy. And what you do with that energy matters. So, for example, you identify a problem, right? And you can have your initial reaction. I'm not, by all means, I'm not depriving you of that. But what I am saying is, can you then take the energy that you would use for worry or anxiety and think about shifting it towards solutions? Think about shifting towards a plan, right? The reason why this is important is because we live in a time where everything can be figured out in one way or another. I know it's hard to envision that when we think of terminal illness and things of that nature, but we are able to control how we react to things and how things impact us. So the first thing I want you to think about when you feel anxious is breathing. Check in with your breath. Are you breathing deeply or are you breathing in a shallow way? The first thing you do is, if you are breathing in a shallow way, can you go back to a very deep breath? So that's an inhale, filling your stomach up with air, and an exhale and letting it all out. A lot of people think this is such a simple thing, but it's really not. When you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, coming back to our breath and really focusing and directing our focus on the breathing is probably the greatest way to calm the body. And once we calm the body, we can start to think of the mind. And when we think of the mind, we can think of our energy, right? So that goes to number 2, which is how are you assigning your energy? Yes, when we get bad news, when we find out bad things, we are always going to have a reaction. That makes sense, and that's normal. However, the repetitive reaction, so the same reaction over and over again, the worry, the anger, the fear, the frustration, the anxiety, isn't serving us, right? And in fact, it tires us out, it stresses us out, and it robs us of being in the present moment. And in the present moment, that's when we're the most powerful. That's when we're actually able to change things. So, in the present, after you've collected your breath and you've catched your breath, can you then think of even the smallest way that you can change the thing that you're worried about? And sometimes that's just looking it up on Google, like how do I fix X, Y, and Z? Sometimes if it has to do with another person, we can look up things like, how can I support that person during this time? How can I take good care of myself while I'm supporting that person during this time? So you're shifting your energy towards taking action instead of just holding steady in a I don't want to say negative, but a non-serving space, right? So you're shifting your energy towards action. That could be, as I said, do a Google lookup. That could be calling a friend who may have more expertise in the area. That could be just talking to a friend and running the ideas by them and getting another opinion. That could be renewing our perspective. And renewing our perspective usually comes after meditation. And maybe we'll talk about meditation next week. But what it does is, after we're able to calm ourselves and come back to the present moment, we can look at things without the grandness of our emotions, right? We can see things for what they are without the lens of our past, without the lens of our circumstance, and see how we can address them in a more accurate and useful and effective way. The third thing I want to talk to you about is, so after we've looked at just capturing our breath, reassigning our energy, the third thing is really asking yourself what you can do about the problem. There are some things that we worry about and that we're anxious about that we cannot actually fix, right? And that's the hardest thing. We want to fix, we want to help, it's human nature. But there are some things that are not within our control. And I offer you the idea that rather than trying to fix someone else's problem or your own, if it can't be fixed, I offer you the idea to just be present, to just be present for the emotions that are moving through your body. Oftentimes we think when things are moving through our body, especially intense emotions, we think that we're going to be in that space forever. And the reality is we're not. The initial shock, the initial concern, the initial sadness, the initial worry, anger, frustration, anxiety passes. And one of the things that we do is we try to hold on to those feelings, right? We repeat those triggers over and over and over again, and that makes the problem compounded, right? That feeds the worry, that feeds the anxiety, and feeds the fear. But what if you asked yourself just once, can I actually control this? Can I actually change this? How does me utilizing my own precious resources, my own inner resources, my worry, my energy, how does this actually change the situation? And two things will happen. The first thing, you will either realize that, oh wait, me stressing out isn't going to do a darn thing here. So maybe I should check back in with the person and see how I can help, or check back in with the situation and see how I can be supportive at a later date. But I don't need to go through the stress, the frustration, the anxiety, the sadness, and what that does to my body, right? Because that makes us vulnerable. I don't need to go through that. The second thing is, I almost did one, but so we're on number 2. The second thing is, if you can help, if you can make a difference, if you can create change, let's focus on that. Let's focus on taking action. Let's focus on informing any party involved how you can help, right? Or how you can support them, or how you can just be present for them. Because remember, sometimes the most important thing we can do for the people that we love and worry and care about is to just be present for them. To just sit there and listen to them and see them and acknowledge what they're going through without having to offer advice or counsel or telling them what to do. And this personally is very hard for me. It's my nature to fix. We're all a work in progress, but it's my nature to try and fix things for people, to try and help. And one of the things that I'm working on as far as worry, anxiety, is letting that go. Sometimes people just need you to be present, and they need you to be silent, and they need to feel your love, right? We all want to be seen, we all want to be heard, and we all want to be acknowledged. So let's go through that list again. The first thing is to capture your breath. That is the most important thing. The second thing is to reassign your energy. And when I say that again, I mean, are you using your energy for worry, anxiety, stress, anger, or are you using it in a way that can actually serve the situation, right? This is very, very important to think about, because if you can redirect and take action, you're already creating a ripple effect of new possibilities, okay? The third thing, and this is, maybe one of the most obvious things, is just asking yourself, can I really help here? Can I make a difference in this situation, right? I'm going to give you maybe a couple more things that I do. The fourth thing is a general overview on anxiety and dealing with anxiety. If you get up in the morning and the first thing you do is reach for your phone, or you start talking to someone, or you turn on the TV or the radio or anything, I don't know, do people turn on radios? But if you don't take a moment for yourself, even if it's 5 deep breaths like the ones we just did at the beginning of the call, and we'll do them again as we close the call, before you engage with your day, you rob yourself of the opportunity to get grounded and to settle. It's easier to take the day if we feel grounded, if our soul is quiet and our mind is quiet. So one of the things I always say to people is create some kind of ritual, even if it's 15 minutes, even if it's 30 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you have in the morning, to take a conscious moment for yourself that doesn't involve other people or devices or anything. Whether you take 5 deep breaths, whether you just give your body a really good stretch, whether you read something very uplifting on paper, not on a screen, or you listen to a positive podcast, something that you know will make you feel better, or you write down 5 things in a gratitude journal. This is a really, really, really important and healthy way to set the tone for your day. Because the minute you're upright and you're getting into your day, there's going to be a million things that are going to pull you in opposite directions. And by setting a morning ritual that's uniquely yours, that is a way of loving yourself first thing, all those things that are pulling you in a million directions throughout the day will have less of a pull. Okay? So again, let's recap. Number 1, capture your breath. Remember to breathe. Number 2, reassign your energy to take action onto things that actually will make a difference. Number 3, identify if you can actually help the situation or if you cannot. If you can, go for it. Do something other than worrying and being anxious. If you can't, Do your best to let it go. Let the emotions go. You're just utilizing important inner resources. Number 4, create a ritual that is uniquely yours in the morning. And it can be the smallest thing, okay? Don't get caught up in it being this big, elaborate thing. It's got to be as easy as brushing your teeth in the morning, okay? Let's not get too precious about it, but let's be present for it. And the 5th thing that I want to offer you is essential oils. I've been using essential oils lately, and they have really made a difference in my life and the quality of my wellness. So I'm just going to show you the 3 that I use throughout the day specifically for anxiety and wellness. The first in the morning is frankincense. Frankincense is a very grounding scent. You probably know it from church or something like that, or the Bible mentions it. It's a very grounding scent that calms the spirit. So I use that one. I diffuse that one in the morning when I'm meditating, sometimes when I'm getting ready. It's a great way to stay calm. Then in the middle of the day, around 2 o'clock, when things start to feel super intense, I diffuse peppermint. And if I'm out, I actually just pour a drop of it, I'll show you, right into my hand. And I rub my palms together. And I just take a moment and I deeply inhale the peppermint, and right away it alerts me. Peppermint is the oil of a buoyant heart, and it really is very uplifting, and it wakes you up. And I don't know if you just saw me perk up, but it goes a really long way to offer us comfort throughout the day. And then I just put the excess that's on my hands, I just put it behind my neck, and it kind of keeps me cool, especially on these hot days. The last one I use in the night is lavender. And we all know lavender, we all love lavender. You can diffuse lavender during the day, or you can do the same thing that I just did with the peppermint. You can put a drop in your hand, rub your palms together, and deeply inhale it, just like the breaths that we did, and exhale and let it all out. Or you can actually rub it on the soles of your feet, and it's almost instantly calming and soothing. So those are the 3 essential oils that I use throughout the day. I want to close this call with just a moment of presence and breath. Okay, so wherever you are right now, find your seat, sit upright as much as you can. Oh, I just got a note that I should go do a quick recap. Okay, quick recap. First thing is capture your breath. Second thing is reassign your energy. So shifting your energy from worry to taking action or a plan, right? The third thing is just identifying whether or not you can really make a difference in the situation. That's super important because you don't want to waste your energy, right? It's so precious. Number 4 is setting a tone for your day and creating a bit of a ritual in the morning. 5 to 10 really deep breaths sitting upright is a great way to start. Gratitude journals are great, so write down 5 things that really that light you up and make you feel happy. All of this before devices, people, stuff, okay? The last thing is diffusing essential oils. I find them very helpful and very useful. Frankincense in the morning, peppermint throughout the day, and lavender at night. So let's sit upright right now. Roll our shoulders back. Find the natural extension of your spine. Make sure both feet are on the ground. You can either place your hands with your thumbs on your sternum close to your heart in prayer position, or you can place the palm of your hands on the tops of your thighs. You're finding the natural extension in your spine. You're looking straight forward, but your eyes are closed. Mine won't be because I'm guiding you. Don't worry, no one can see you. And we're going to inhale and fill our stomach up with air, as much air as we possibly can. And hold for 1 breath and let it all out. So let's inhale this time for a count of 5. So inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. And then let it all out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to do it one more time. inhaling as much air as you possibly can. This is your victory breath. Inhale as much air as you possibly can. Hold it. Now let it all out. Beautiful. Take a moment here. Thanks so much for being on my first call. I really appreciate all of you here. Rebecca, Deanna, Hollis, that's 3. Yay, that's more than just me. So I'm so grateful for that. I'll be here next week. I think next week we're going to talk about meditation, but I'll send out a note and let you know for sure. Thank you so much for being here. You can email me anytime. That's alicia@aliciamathlin.com. And I'll send you an email with those 5 tips that I gave you on the call. And again, I thank you very much for being here. Take care and have a really, really wonderful day. Bye now.